Hey, what's up? I'm going to be reading The Science Behind Why We Find Certain Eye Colors So Attractive. This is from MBG Lifestyle. Just some background to this. For me, eyes are one of the things I find super attractive. There's some people, I think I noticed. Anyway, no, what is this? Um, Back in high school, when I started actually noticing some of these things, what are your favorite things? I think it's like eyes, like the neck, shoulder kind of area, and things like that. What else? I think those pretty much the two main things. Freckles too. That's the thing that I also consider rather attractive. So some of these things you wonder why, and I remember reading something about lips, and I might actually go back and find that and also do a reading of that. But eyes, for me, have been one of the specific things. Now, there's a simple one that I'm just thinking it could be something to do with making eye contact, being able to trust or look and see why somebody's looking at a certain place, or just, I don't know, there's something about it. But there's just some people who their eyes have truly fascinated me. There's actually been situations with several people who I recall actually being dumbstruck, being unable to speak when they spoke to me. I just be looking at them like, wow, that is amazing. I seriously took my breath away. And that's how deeply I like them. But I haven't really actually thought of what's the actual reason behind this. Because some of these things do have evolutionary benefits. There's a reason some of these things were selected for. These things aren't just completely social constructs. There's actually reasons behind these things. Yes, partially they are social constructs, but there's reasons behind some of these things that kind of appeal to people. For me personally, I think one of the ones that's good with eyes is they don't normally change that much when you get older. We'll see in this article if they go into it, if they get duller or anything, but eyes are eyes. Somebody's physical shape, if you like their skin, if you like their hair, these things change color, they get shorter, they get thinner, the skin gets wrinkles, things like that change, but I think the eyes kind of stay the same. And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think your eyes are the same size when you're like a baby as when you get older. They don't really grow or get smaller. So there is something I think with that part of that neoteny thing why babies' eyes seem so big. It's because those eyes are the same size eyes they're going to have when they're 80 or 90 and things like that, or it doesn't change. So that might be in here. Don't quote me on that. But one of the things that I think I noticed, part of the reason I really liked glasses was not because I thought the person was smarter. There is that thing where, oh, the people with glasses are actually smarter. That's not completely accurate. I think part of the things I liked about glasses were the people, depending on if they're short sighted or nearsighted, there's some glasses that actually magnify the size of your eyes. So I think if I look back and look at the people who I actually found attractive wearing glasses, they were the ones where if you look at them, their eyes actually look larger rather than the inverse, because there are some cases where they really make the eyes smaller. I think someone like Stephen King is a good example if you want to think of someone who has glasses, what makes their eyes actually look a lot smaller. And I think that's one of the things. Anyway, getting into the reading now, and I'm just going to be reading it through. I might give some commentary here and there. I'll try to keep that short, and if I have much to say, I'll say something at the end. Try to keep it for there. And this is again the science behind why we find certain eye colors so attractive. And this is by a registered yoga teacher by Georgina Berbari. I don't know why she put in registered yoga teacher. Does it have something to do with expertise in eyes? Well, this is in the beauty section on MBG Lifestyle. And there might be some links and things in here. So if you want, you can check it out. I'll leave a link below to the article for you guys to read by yourself and double check with some of these things. Okay, so September 28th, 2019. Aside from being vastly emotionally communicative and soul bearing, simply taking a moment to examine someone's unique eye color can be so compelling, as no two hues are exactly the same. Perhaps you're someone who's especially attracted to lighter eye colors like blue or green, or you find yourself on the other side of the spectrum being entranced by darker chocolate or amber colorings. Have you ever wondered why certain eye colors are so beautifully alluring? We decided to ask a psychologist and dig into some research to find out. What's rare is attractive. 1-800 Contacts recently conducted a survey of 1,000 people in order to figure out people's perception of eye color and what these different eye color preferences can reveal about us. One of the study's main findings was that gray eyes are both the rarest and the statistically most attractive color, with hazel and green following closely behind. Conversely, brown eyes are the most common color, yet the least attractive to the survey's respondents. According to World Atlas, approximately 79% of the world's population has brown eyes, making it the most common eye color in the world. After brown eyes comes the blue-eyed crowd, with 8% to 10% of the world having blue eyes, 5% having amber or hazel eyes, and 2% of the world having green eyes. Statistically speaking, the rarest eye colors are gray and red/violet, and this novelty could be the reason gray eyes rank as the most popular color among survey participants. It makes sense that the rare colors tend to be more captivating. Clinical psychologist Carla Marie Manley, PhD, explains in an interview with MBG. Rooted in primitive survival mechanisms, the human mind and the human eye tends to notice that which is different and unique. According to Manley, this tendency came from the need to notice that which was, quote, different, unquote, in the environment in order to ascertain if the novel item or experience was safe or unsafe. Throughout evolution, she says, we've retained this interest in that which is novel. And though in some cases that which is novel is considered a detriment, in others, such as a different eye color, it can also be considered interesting or attractive. What your eye color says about your personality. Does eye color tell us anything real about a person, though? Well, partially. Having more melanin, the pigment that creates the darkened hue of brown eyes, has been associated with things like being better at sports and being worse at handling alcohol. And some research shows that people with lighter eye colors, on the other hand, tend to be less agreeable and more competitive. There's also a lot to be said about what we associate with specific eye colors. A peer-reviewed study published in the journal PLOS One found that we subconsciously assume people with brown eyes are more trustworthy. That said, the researchers found this wasn't necessarily due to the eye color itself, but rather the facial structure accompanying brown-eyed people. These researchers posit that the rounder and softer features of brown-eyed individuals make their faces appear more baby-like, and thus more innocent and trustworthy. Tangentially, the research suggests that sometimes longer and more angular features of people with blue eyes strip them of this quality. A counterpoint, though, a separate study found brown eyes to be associated with dominance. The 1-800-CONTACT survey did align with a lot of research, though. When asked about what personality traits are associated with each eye color, blue eyes were considered sexy and associated with a love for, quote, trying new things, unquote, while brown eyes were considered, quote, trustworthy, unquote, and, quote, kind, end quote. Cultural ideas are also powerful. Despite gray eyes being rated as the most attractive, 47.6% of the survey respondents responded that they would still choose to have blue eyes if given a choice. Manley explains that this might be because cultural influences also have an effect on that which we desire, whether that be eye color, hair color, or body shape. Our culture often idolizes a blonde-haired, blue-eyed person. This has been emphasized in movies and the media for decades, she tells MBG. As such, the fun and sexy aspects attributed to a blue-eyed person are certainly a result of the heavy media influences. Thus, when it comes to eye color, Manley explains that it's important to factor in how humans are, from childhood forward, exposed to the likes of Cinderella, Snow White, Barbie, TV, and movie personalities, who tend to play out the fantasy that blue-eyed people are more, quote, fun, unquote, and, quote, adventurous, unquote. Probably shouldn't be doing the quote unquote when it's one word, should I? So back into the reading. Whereas a person with steely gray eyes or brown eyes might be typecast as a serious, sensible, yet kind individual. Just one aside here. In my experience, the most overrepresented group in television seems to be redheads. Now, the redheads with the freckles and the green eyes, that seems to be a very common thing that's really, compared to the amount of redheads there actually are in society, that seems to be one of the most overrepresented groups. Let me know what you guys think about that one. Rather than this blonde blue eye type thing. I think that's actually a higher percent. I don't know. Anyway, we as a society are very much influenced by the media, says Manley. Yes, we certainly may have an innate personal preference, yet much of what we are attracted to is based upon a long history from birth forward, and this is what is socially deemed attractive. The role of sexual imprinting. So, how much weight do people put on eye color when it comes to judging a potential partner's attractiveness? Some research cites an unexpected link between the eye color of one's partner and that person's parents. In one 2017 study, researchers found both gay men and straight women were twice as likely to have a romantic partner with an eye color close to that of their fathers. Conversely, gay women and straight men were 2.5 times more likely to have a partner with similar eyes to their mothers. The researchers speculated that this might be because, as children, we imprint on the parent whose gender we're attracted to. This is both an interesting and admittedly slightly creepy subconscious predilection to keep in mind when analyzing why you're drawn to one person's eyes over another's. All these factors, rarity, cultural ideals, and sexual imprinting, probably play individual roles in determining which eye color a person is most drawn to. For most people, eye color will in no way be a deal breaker in choosing one lover over another, but the next time you lose your train of thought because you're captivated by your partner's oceanic blue eyes, you can blame Cinderella, or maybe your dad. And that's it. So that was from Georgina Berbari again. Let's see what she says with this registered yoga teacher. I mean, if you do yoga, that doesn't mean it's your only interest. You can still be somebody who does yoga, but then you go in and you can research other stuff. And I think that's why she mentioned it. As you can see here, it says Georgina Berbari is a health and wellness writer, a certified yoga teacher based in Brooklyn. She received a bachelor's degree in communications and journalism from Marist College. So yeah, maybe she's a journalist, as she said here. There were some actual interviews. She might have been the one who engage in these interviews. There's some links below into this. What do you guys think of the material in here? If you have a partner, if you're married to somebody right now, do they have the same eye color as the gender you are attracted to of your parents or whoever raised you and things like that? What was your experience? My previous experience with the whole being fascinated by eyes, I guess in some cases one was these blue steely eyes. I might actually let me just post the image. Try to remember to post the image of the eyes. You don't have to post the entire person's face, because this is one I remember in particular. They were sitting in front of me in an English class in university or in college. They turned around and said something to me, and I literally could not speak. I eventually began to speak to her sometime after that, and she's a really cool person. But it was just at that point. The reason I decided to look it up, I was listening to this one show. It's like Talk Heathen, where it's like these people talk about it, and they're doing the social distancing, so they're not recording in the studio. And when they were recording in the studio, they were a little further back from the screen as the camera was. And this time they were shooting, and one of the people was actually really close. Like her head was fitting pretty much entirely on the screen, like in the section. So you're getting really close look to her eyes, and I was looking at the screen, it was really distracting. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then I was like, what is that? What goes on with that thing? What was behind that? And this is the current year we're living in. This information is there online. I'm probably going to look in on some of these links and check a few other things, but this is the information out there. We're going through a certain situation right now, a pandemic, but some of the things continue. Eyes are still beautiful. Eyes have made it through pandemics in the past and come to this. Eyes have been unemployed. Eyes have been employed. There's going to be more eyes in the future you can find attractive. But one thing that we have right now that we didn't have in the past is access to this information. If you have certain questions that you thought, why is it that I feel this way? Why is it that I think this way? Why is it that that is done that way? Just go to any internet browser. You can literally just type in the actual question you have, and a good chance it's actually going to come up. The answer for that exact question is actually going to come up, because I just went up and I typed, why are eyes so attractive? And now there's different things out there. There's Mind, Body, Green. There's also one link here from Psychology Today, why eyes are central to human attraction, what makes eyes attractive on Quora. There's a Daily Mail thing. I'm just going through the listing that's there. Why do men find women with larger eyes attractive? So there's other things in here that I'm going to kind of check out, and there's tons of information out there. And you might also be able to, like this yoga teacher, be the person who, oh, I have this question, this information isn't there, or this information isn't completely clear. Then you go and you ask somebody that actually might know that information. Then you have an interview that person, you put it up in a podcast, you put it up in a video, or you have a blog post and you put it up, and then that's shared by more people. Or you personally can actually go in and share some of the information that you might know about a specific thing in the multiple means that we have, and that can help somebody else. So that's a good time that we're living in. What do you find attractive about women, about men, about the gender, the sex that you're attracted to? What other features do you like? Do you know why you like these things? Do you think some of these things were creepy? Do you think this was accurate? How much information did you learn from this? That's it for this video. This is part of the series where I think there's things I want to read. I bookmark all these things, and sometimes I don't go back to reading them, and I figured, hey, if I'm going to read them anyway, might as well read them out loud, put them up in this video, and some people might prefer to go back to the old ways we used to actually share information, which is storytelling versus the reading, which is rather recent when it comes to human existence, comes to the human species. But there we go. Like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. You can help me with one-time donations on PayPal as well. There's other ways you can help out with sharing, commenting. I'd like to know what you guys are thinking about these things, you guys and gals. The you guys thing, this is just an aside. I'll just finish up with this one. Someone was like, okay, guys can be used for both men and women. And then someone said, okay, how many guys have you slept with? This is asking a heterosexual man, of course. And then, yeah, that shows that whole thing, like, yeah, you guys, it is gendered in a sense. So, anyway, that's it for now. Goodbye.